Hello, 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 folks. It is I, David Stewart. I'm back with my trusty classical guitar. Today, we're going to talk about guitar supports or guitar rests. What are these crazy devices? We know that they're used for classical guitar, I guess. Should you use one? How are they used, and which one would I recommend? I'm going to answer all of those questions. Before I dig into the meat of all of those, let's first take a look at why you might want to use one because of our holding position on our classical guitar. I'm going to give you a little bit of a different camera angle here. Just deal with my white legs. I'm in my running shorts because I just went for a run. This is the way that we normally hold classical guitar on our left leg. Normally, I'll explain. And the reason that we tend to hold the guitar on the left leg will become obvious when we look at a couple positions. But if we just put it on our left leg without doing anything else, it's really not in a good playing position. Where it's a little too low, we have to kind of reach. We have to sort of pronate our wrist quite a bit to sort of get around the guitar. It's just not ideal. So what a lot of people do is they shift that guitar over to the right-hand side. That now puts the wrist in a much more straight sort of attack. The top part of the wrist will be straight as you go onto the guitar. It makes it a lot easier to play. But there's some disadvantages to this. The main one is that the guitar is not stable without your right hand, which means if you want to play with a lot of different tones, it's a little bit more difficult to hold the guitar in place and play with lots of different tones. And the other disadvantage is that it's a little harder to play high. You have to kind of reach down with your shoulder and sort of like and get around to get up these high notes. So what we tend to do with classical guitars, we tend to put it on the left leg, but rather than have it just going sort of straight out, we raise the left leg up by putting it on a footstool or putting it on your case or something like that. And then that allows you to be in sort of a playing position where you can easily reach around the guitar here because it's up at an angle, it's raised up a little bit, and get high very, very easily, get high up, and of course like get out and sort of reach around the neck and get these sort of bigger stretches happening without too much discomfort. This is like the traditional way that you hold classical guitar. It's not appropriate for everyone. Some people are bigger or smaller. Juan Serrano used to hold his guitar like this, which allowed him to have the classical position, but he's a smaller guy. He's a lot shorter than me, so if he held it out here, he'd be reaching too far out with his arm to really play well. The problem with the footstool, and the footstool is like a tried and true form, but the problem with the footstool is that you have one leg up in the air all day, which is going to twist your back. And just a little story, a long time ago, like back when I was like 20, I started having back problems. And I was like, man, I shouldn't be having these back problems. I'm young. I had all this lower back pain. Sometimes I had it so bad that like someone would have to drive me home. Like I couldn't drive myself home. Like all my intercostal muscles hurt, my ribs hurt. I went to the doctor, and the doctor's like, well, what the heck are you doing all day that your back's hurting? You're 20. And I'm like, well, I just sit around and play guitar all day. He's like, well, show me how you hold your guitar. And so I like kind of showed him. I didn't have my guitar at the office, and he's like, well, no wonder your back hurts. It's pointed off to the right all day. We got to fix that. So that's what prompted me to look into what guitar supports do. Now, what a guitar support does is you, in the case of this one, which is similar to most that you'll find, you have, it sticks onto the guitar. So rather than having your leg lift up the guitar, this sticks onto the guitar like so, and that raises the guitar up so that you can have your legs flat and easily reach around the guitar. And this is a great position. The guitar is really stable. I don't have to hold it really with my right hand, and I can reach around with my left hand. Now you saw the first real problem with guitar support. So this is an older one, so this is going to be very prone to doing it. And that is you stick it on good and tight, and then you're sitting there playing your concert, and it pops off. And it goes down, and then you're left kind of like hunching over for the remainder of the concert, or at least the piece until you get this done. And I've had this happen at so many concerts, I don't even want to talk about it, really. I've had these things fail, different ones. Now, you can get new suction cups that stick better. You can like sit in there, lick the suction cup and like stick the suction cup on, or like and then like stick it on, and you'll see a lot of really popular classical guitarists like Scott Tennant will be sitting there huffing and puffing on his guitar all day to get the little suction cups to stick on there for his guitar support, because the guitar support makes it so much easier to play and makes it so much less sort of pressure and annoyance on your back. So I started looking for a different solution than this guitar rest. Now this is a guitar rest by Fretl, and I'll just show it to you up close. It's by Fretl. These used to be made in the Czech Republic. I don't know if they still are. They're a good quality guitar rest. It's as good as the ones I found with the suction cups. You can get new suction cups. This suction cup's actually slightly broken. It shouldn't do this thing, but it's a little bit broken. It still kind of works. And you can get new suction cups, and you will have to get new suction cups because it does wear off. It's got the biggest, sort of easiest adjustment. It sticks on in one place. You can turn it around. If you want it higher up, you know, you could, if you want your guitar to be more like, you know, more cello-like, you just kind of stick it down here at the side, and then it like pops up like a cello, you know, which is a position that a lot of players happen to like. So if you're going to go with the suction cup one, I think this is a good one. It's pretty affordable, and it's pretty rugged, and it never wears out, and it fits in your case. That's the Fretl guitar support. But because the suction cups inevitably will fail, because things wear out, and this is a thing that requires like really a suction cup that's worn doesn't really want to stick. So as this wears, it's going to pop off. The other problem is, and I don't know if you can see this, I'm going to do my best to show you. Let's see if I can show you on this camera. There's a little bit of clouding on my finish in the spot that the guitar rest used to always be stuck on. And you can kind of see it. Right there. Okay, you can see some of that clouding of the finish, and that's because the guitar support basically wore the finish away as well. So the suction cups will mar your finish over time. It's something that's going to happen, and you have to deal with that trade-off if that's what you wanted to use as the suction cups. Is there an alternative to the suction cups? Yes, there is. David Schramm actually pointed me to these. He's the guy who made this guitar, by the way, and I do. He doesn't pay me to say this, but he's a great guitar maker, and I fully endorse his products. They're great, and I love my guitar. I've had this guitar for many years, and it's been my constant companion and best friend in a lot of cases. So what's an alternative? It's one of these. This is called the Murata guitar support, and like I said, David Schramm turned me onto this. This one works quite a bit differently than the suction cup ones. What it has is these 4 little padded feet with just little plastic tubing, and you could replace that with surgical tubing or anything you want. And this tubing doesn't really mar the finish at all, including like French polish, because I've used it on my guitars that are French polish, and it doesn't seem to do anything to the finish. And you turn a little screw here, and it basically clamps onto your guitar. It won't slip, and then this part goes on your leg. And let me see if I can show you exactly how that looks. So, by the way, the length of this arm is like completely fully adjustable. It's got a bunch of little wing nuts to adjust. So rather than sticking on this part of the guitar, you actually stick it on this part of the guitar, this sort of upper part of the bout. Then you can turn the screw on the back, and it gets locked in. And that's not coming off. It's nice and sturdy. This part goes on your leg, and now your guitar is finally in a secure, perfect playing position. You could fully adjust this thing to get to exactly where you want it to be. And you could play with all your different tones. You know, whatever you wanted to play with without having to worry about guitar slipping out from you. So it works really, really, really good for that. And I do really, really recommend this Murata guitar support. Here's the only downside to the Murata guitar support. Actually, 2 downsides. So the first downside to the Murata guitar support is this curved part. Now, it's very secure. It's felt lined. It sticks to pretty much any of your clothes that you're going to be wearing when you perform. And it kind of rocks around nice, which gives you a little bit of freedom to move around with the guitar. The downside of this is that it has a set curvature that you can't adjust. And that's a problem for me because my legs are gigantic. I'm a big dude. And if you can, I don't know if you can see from just like looking at me with the guitar, sometimes people are like, you just look like you make a guitar look small sometimes. I'm not a very small person. And I have a friend who's like 6'7" who plays guitar, and they just look like little toys. Like for instance, my arm really almost rests on my wrist. When I reach the strings. I'm a big guy. And if you have big legs like me and you've been working out your legs, if you do those quad workouts and you don't skip leg day, then this support's gonna not quite fit on your leg quite right. It's gonna touch on the edges and just not be perfect. However, it still works really, really well, and it's not uncomfortable. It just isn't going to be perfect, even if they designed it for like an average leg. It's from Japan, so maybe they designed it for like Japanese legs, which are smaller than, gigantic Viking legs or something. So, but that's like the main downside. The other downside is that I'm looking at it on stringsbymail.com right now. The cheaper version, I have the more expensive version, which is closer to $80. The cheaper version is $70. That's really a lot of money for any sort of product. The Fretl, by comparison, which is this one, let me see. I'm sure they have it here as well. This is $22. Okay, so this is really, really cheap and pretty easy to maintain, whereas the Murata is very, very expensive. However, you get what you pay for. What you will get is a guitar rest that will never wear out. So number one, it'll never wear out. Number two, it will never slip in a performance. Number three, it doesn't mar your finish. And that's where you're going to get the value from the Murata guitar support. It's the one really that I guess fully recommend or endorse. If you're going to ask me, pick one to use, it's going to be the Murata guitar support here. It just works better than any of the others. However, it's okay to look at some of the others. There's one called the Gitano support that's pretty nice. It'll fold up on your guitar so you don't ever have to take it off, which will reduce the amount of wear on the suction cups and make it last a lot longer. There's magnetic ones. You can get one of these that uses suction cups if you're like really worried about this. This doesn't really mar the finish at all though, so I would never do this with the suction cups. I just don't understand the point of that. The benefit of this is that it clamps onto the guitar and it's really, really secure. It's not going to damage your top, by the way, guys. It's pushing on this vertical piece of wood, so it's not really going to damage your top either. Or I wouldn't use it on my guitars. You can trust me on that particular bit. That's about all I have to say on that. I hope you guys have found that interesting. Guitar supports, should you use them? Well, I recommend them for anyone who's going to be playing for an extended period of time. I do recommend the Murata over the other kind, and I hope that you will be able to find that information useful and avoid some back problems before they begin. One other solution that other people come up with for the problem of guitar position is to use a strap. A lot of classical guitarists are not going to use a strap though, because they don't want to drill holes in their precious classical guitar. That includes me. I don't want to drill holes in my guitar, so I don't use a strap. I would rather use a support. But some guys use a strap. Michael Chapdelaine, I've seen use a strap with the classical guitar. Or if you're using a guitar like a Godin that has a strap. I don't bring my guitar support around to most gigs because I tend to play them on the Godin if they're outdoor gigs, and then I could just play with the strap, and I don't have to worry about the guitar support. But anyway, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. You can visit davidvstewart.com for more music stuff. I have a lot of my videos cataloged on there. Not all of them. It's an ongoing process. It just takes a lot of effort to catalog 300 and some odd videos on the channel. But I hope you find that useful, and you guys have a great day. Oh yeah, one more thing. So I do write books. If you're watching this like right now, Prophet of the Godseed, my sci-fi book, I'm running a little free promotion on Amazon for that. If you sign up on my mailing list by mailing me Stu at davidvstewart.com or Stu, S-T-U, at dbspress.com, I'll manually add you on to the fiction mailing list, and you're going to get a free book pretty soon, and it's pre-release, so pretty exciting there. Anyway, I wanted to do that little bit of a plug. You can also buy Muramasa Blood Drinker on Amazon. Links will be down and below in the description. That's a great way to support what I do, and I appreciate it.